This is going to prove to be quite an interesting, probably it's going to be 2 videos. A friend recently told me I should try to set up an account at Party Bets to bet on hockey, football, tennis, golf, or whatever, politics. So I did, but being the curious person, I want to work out some analysis based on math and statistics just to see the internal structure and the probability sequence. So I made this little wee file here, and just to go through, this is in Microsoft Excel. You can see where the mouse is moving around, and I'm basing it on a cycle of 10 bets. And you bet $20. You want to bet low odds in theory, because if the odds are low, that's the probability that team is likely going to win. If the odds on the other team are, say, 2.7, that means if you bet $10, then you would have a $27 payout. If the odds are 1.5, then you can see here you would have $5, or here at $20, yeah, that's right, 20 times 1.5 would be a $10 payout, so 20 becomes 30. So what I'm looking at, and it really struck me last night, I made 2 bets. One was on one team to win, and I bet on a different game for the other team to win. I thought, well, they're both pretty safe bets. So far I've been fortunate, because I try to bet only what I know. I made 9 bets in the first week, and I won 8 of them. So okay, that's pretty cool. But what struck me last night was I won 1 bet and I lost the second. So of course I thought, well, okay, that's fine, because I won 1, I lost another, everything's equal. But when I looked at my account, I said, wait a minute, my account has dropped. That doesn't make any sense, because the odds on both were basically the same within a couple of points. So I started to get a pen and a paper and calculator, and I said, oh my. The reason that my account dropped was that the amount of the payout on the win was much lower than the amount of the bet on the loss. So when I analyzed that, I said, let me make a file in Excel and try to find out how this is actually going to work. So the bottom line is, based on low odds, and you don't want to bet high odds, because then that increases the probability you're going to lose your bet on average. If you're 50-50, you will lose all of your money. And what I'm trying to get across is, if you are right half of the time, it is a 100% certainty you will lose all of your money, and it's just a matter of time, because the more bets you make, every payout on winnings is going to be lower than the amount bet on the supplementary bet. So if you get, for example, here you get a $5 payout, but when you lose a $20 bet, you therefore would have to win 4 times that payout to equal 1 loss. And you can see over time, how do you deal with this issue? Well, you could increase the odds, and that's beneficial if you win, but if you lose, then of course the higher the odds and the greater the probability you're going to lose. So the bottom line is, you really need to be correct 70% of the time at least to make virtually anything. Now, what are the odds that someone's going to be correct 70% of the time? I don't think the odds are actually that great. So let's just go through this little chart sequence here, and we'll see how it works out. You make 10 bets. The $20 each bet, 1.5 is the payout, or the odds, 1.5. So if you win, you would get $10 per payout. So 20 plus your bet, and then you get the 10, so that would become 30, but your profit would be 10. If you win 5 bets, you're going to make 50 bucks. So, 5 times 10 is going to be $50. But if you lose the other 5, every time you lose, you're losing $20. So the amount lost is 100. If you happen to start with 100, what really happened? You lost 100, you gained 50, you've lost 50% of your account, even though you're correct 50% of the time. That kind of seems like brain damage to me. That just doesn't make any common sense. That pretty good if you're the company that's providing the betting service, without any doubt. Okay, what I did in this little section right here, just follow the mouse along, is I increased by 1 the number of wins you make per 10 bet cycle. And what I'm trying to show is, at winning 5 and losing 5, you may think, well, that's even, but from what I've said so far that that's not accurate. That 5 and 5, you're losing 50% of your account after 10 bets. If you're correct 6 out of every 10, so 6 wins and 4 losses, the amount left, you're still down 20% after 10 bets, so your $100 account is down to 80, and I'm keeping the number small to keep it simple. At 7 bets, you're actually making $10. Now just imagine, in baseball, if you can get a hit, 300 average is pretty good. So if you're wrong 70% of the time, they'll pay you millions of dollars. But in online gambling, where you're betting on sporting events and if you are correct 70% of the time, you're making almost no money. Do you see how the odds are just so ridiculously against the average person? If you are correct 8 out of every 10 times, and what do you think the odds of that happening over time? Not that great, really. The odds are increased if you bet what you know and you're disciplined and you kind of have a good idea what you're doing. But on the long term, no, I don't think so. Sporting events are just too random by nature. The profit is starting to be okay, but what are you going to do with $40? Go to the keg and you'll have to borrow money to pay the rest. So, I hope you can get the idea here that you have to be enormously successful consistently over time to make anything not going to happen. But it's fun, and just look at it as fun and don't look at it as anything more than that. Now here's a couple of guidelines that I'm just trying to put together. And you kind of wonder, why am I wasting all these hours to figure this out? Well, it's not about the money. It's about understanding the structure of the way the business is designed. And it's a pretty fascinating business, and it's a global epidemic as far as I'm concerned. It's like the government, they keep promoting these ads on TV about the lottery winnings, and what are you going to do with all your winnings? Well, if you take everybody in Canada, put them in the same room, even though that's not possible, I think there's 33 million people. Well, the odds of winning the lottery are 13 million to 1. I kind of think they should be putting that in the ad to let people know just how ridiculous the whole idea is. So here, the higher odds will increase your profits, but at a greater risk of losing, so that makes no sense. Reasonable odds of 1.5, 1.7, you need to win 7 out of every 10 to basically make $1. At 2.0 odds, which is higher odds you're going to lose, you can break even if you win 5 of 10 times, but the risk becomes much greater of losing. Now remember, if you increase the amount that you bet, you can wipe out your account quickly because you can easily have 2 or 3, 4 losses in a row. So just bear that in mind. The main reason you lose every time, if your success ratio is 50%, as I said before, was that the payout on wins is lower than the amount of the other bet. You need to establish your success ratio over approximately 50 bets, maybe even 100. If you're not winning 7 or 8 per 10 bet cycle, basically have fun, but be ready to lose all your money. The other thing that I highly advise you to do is keep a record of what you're betting on, and let's say football, hockey, politics, soccer, whatever, golf. What you want to find out is, what are you good at? If you find out that you're quite successful at hockey, well, stop betting on football. If you find that you're not very good at betting on hockey, then stay away from it. Or if you're quite good with certain teams, stick with those teams, because then at least you've got some basic statistics to back up what you're doing.